Okay. Shan, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me, Shan? But I can see the mic is working. The mic is working. Okay, good. Send a message to Bishop. Okay, good morning everyone, rather good afternoon. I'm taking 2 more minutes. I'm seeing a lot of people joining in. So I will wait for some more students to join in before I start. Okay, and I hope all of you are good and at home as is directed. And let me tell you, we are all missing you here in the college, and we want all this to end on a positive note, and we want all of you back in the college as soon as possible. But of course, after government has allowed us to open, and then we will have a lot of exciting things to talk about, lot of exciting things to do. And I'm sure even when you are at home, there is so much that is happening that is happening online, and you are all taking a lot of interest in joining in the practical classes and theory classes. We see a lot of you. Yes, of course, I understand. We over the last 2-3 days we have seen that there is a little bit of a diminishing trend in the year 2 students not joining in big numbers, a little bit, less attendance, but I think it's getting better and better. And it's very important, because otherwise what's going to happen is, you're going to miss out on a lot of things, because these theory classes that are being done, these practical classes that are being done, especially the theory classes, may not be repeated. We'll be doing more of practical classes when we open, because we have missed out on a few of them. So it's very, very important that all of you stay online and keep on seeing and trying to gather what all is happening online, especially theory classes as well as practical classes, and lots of these master classes and seminars, etc., that are being held for your benefit online. So it's very, very important. And okay, I see a lot of people joining in. So I have 1 more minute to go till it is 12 o'clock, and then we can actually start. Yeah, correctly. Okay, so we seem to be just on time. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be doing a class, a demo on the Indian gravies, which is Indian gravies part 2 online, but it is basically for us as a class. We are part 3 because if you remember, we have already done makhani, we have already done white gravy in one session. In the second session last time we did a yellow gravy and we did a kadai gravy, which is also called chopped gravy at times. And today I will be doing brown gravy, which is also called joshina sometimes, which is also called masala gravy sometimes. And then we will also be doing a haryali gravy or a green gravy, or what people say hara masala. So what we will do is we will today make the base for both the gravies first, and then we will convert these gravies into 2 dishes. So for the brown gravy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make chicken or murg do pyaza, and with the green gravy, which is the haryali gravy or palak gravy or hara masala gravy. With that, I'm going to make the all-time favorite palak paneer, which we'll do as we progress into this class. So what I'm going to do is initially, because the brown gravy takes more time to cook, I'm going to start with the brown gravy, and then once the brown gravy starts cooking, I'm going to start with the mise en place for the green gravy, and while the green gravy mise en place is done and it started cooking, the brown gravy goes for cooling, and we start cooking the dish with the brown gravy. And in the meantime, our green gravy is cooled down and it is blended, and we have it back, and then we will obviously do the palak paneer with it. Okay, so I am initially going to talk a little bit about these 2 gravies. So first, let me talk about the brown gravy. Now, brown gravy is the mother gravy of Indian cuisine, and along with the shahi gravy, the yellow gravy, the makhani, and the haryali gravy, it is one of the mother gravies, and it is predominant. It is primarily made by sautéing or by a paste which is by onions, garlic, ginger, tomatoes, a blend of spices, and of course then whole spices. Whole spices means those spices which provide that flavor. If you remember, in the last class we spoke about whole spices. We said that all these whole spices have essential oils in them. So it's very, very important when you give a chomp, the oil is not extremely hot. Even if you have heated a mustard oil to the smoke point because you want to remove that bitterness from the mustard oil, you still have to cool it down before you start putting in the chomp. Because what will happen is if you put these spices in and they start burning on the outside, number one, they're going to make your gravy smell and taste burnt, and also you're not going to get any flavors because they leave these flavors, these essential oils at fairly low temperatures. So that is the basic science behind putting whole ground masalas. Okay, now to start with the brown gravy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use. If you remember, last time also we did the same thing. We used half oil and half ghee. Okay, now if I use only ghee, what is going to happen? I told you last time it has got a very low smoke point. So while I put in my whole spices in, they may burn and the ghee will also start separating. So what I do is I always put half ghee and half oil into the pan, and then what we need to do is depending on how much gravy you're cooking, you can either have sliced onion. Let's say I'm cooking 20 kgs of brown gravy, so I can easily slice the onions and put them into the gravy. If I'm making 2 kg, 1 kg, so it always pays to chop the onion, because then you are sure that you have consistency, and then you will not need too much of grinding, etc. also. Okay, so we all know how to chop onions. But if you want to make it easy, because you're making a large amount of gravy, I'll show you another very easy hack to chop an onion for large production of gravies. When you're not making continental sauces where you need very finely chopped onions, okay, when you need rough chopped onions, you can also use this technique. So the technique is very simple. I have peeled the onion. I have removed the eye of the onion and the shoot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, okay, slicing the onion like this on one side. I'll turn it over, another side, okay, then another side, then another side, and now I cut it into two halves. It's already segmented, chopped, and now I can actually chop it. Okay, so you have chopped onions. Which is, you can say, roughly chopped, not very finely chopped. Okay, and the same we do with the other side of the onion also. Now it depends on how much thin or thick you want to cut this onion, so you can actually then decide. Once you have already put the onion vertical, you can decide how many times you want to cut it horizontally and how many times you want to cut this how many times you want to cut this vertically. That will give you how much thickness of onion you want. Okay, so I will start my so I have heated the oil. I've heated the oil. I will start by putting the whole spices into the oil. Now, the first thing that I am putting into the oil is the badi ilaichi. Now, badi ilaichi, because it's big, it's going to take some time to cook. So I'm putting 2 badi ilaichi, black cardamoms. Then I am putting a 2-inch piece of cinnamon. Then I am putting around 5 pieces of green cardamom in here, and I am putting around 4 to 5 cloves. Okay, right? I had reduced the temperature there so that I can get the best flavors out of these spices. I'm not going to hurry it up. I'm going to wait for them to open up. So what I generally do is, whenever you have this garam masala ready, you keep the garam masala on the chopping board and just press the rolling pin over them so that they at least break. So all the masalas, whole masalas that are there on my table have already been crushed, except for the cloves. Okay, and now towards the end, I am going to put in some mace. Now you know mace is Javitri. So I am putting 2 blades of mace into this. Okay, 2 blades of mace. Now we know that this is the temperature is reduced. It's not going to burn, and I've already started smelling the badi ilaichi. In very soon, the cinnamon will leave its oil, the green cardamom and the mace will leave its oil. And around the same time, I'm going to add cumin. Okay, if you remember last time, I told you that cumin is a spice. 93% of the total cumin seeds grown in the world, 93% of the total cumin seeds grown in the world are grown in India. And 96% of the total cumin consumption of world is in India. That means even after producing 93% of the world's cumin, we also have to import 3% more of our consumption. Okay, so you can imagine how important is cumin to our cuisine, our food all across India, irrespective of what cuisine you are talking about. You can hear the spices crackling. I have put it on moderate heat. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the onion. Onion, brown gravy, that is the main ingredient, so fairly good amount of onions. Okay, now very important to understand that because this gravy is going to be fairly brown in color, so needless to say that the onions have to be golden brown. But it's very important. Now you know there are every dish that you make. I'm sure all of you by now know what is HACCP. There are a couple of terms in HACCP which is called SOP and which is called SSOP. Okay, I am talking about an SOP in the recipe. Okay, so what happens is if recipe is a SOP, then you have a couple of CCPs, which is critical control points in every recipe. Okay, and I'll just discuss a small recipe with you. Let's say we are making a boiled egg. Okay, if I'm making a boiled egg and I have to write a recipe for a boiled egg because I want to create critical control points or I want to create a recipe. So I say take an egg. Okay, boil water. When the water starts simmering and it starts boiling, reduce the heat, put the egg in, and then if you want a soft boiled egg, keep it for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. If you want a medium boiled egg, keep it for 7, 8 minutes. So when you write a recipe like that, it is very important to see that which part of this recipe is a critical control point. Now, when I was talking about the recipe, I did not talk about washing an egg. Okay, so that is a critical control point. If you don't wash an egg, you have created a major, mistake in the recipe. So you say, wash the egg in the beginning, and then once you start boiling the egg, then you write about the time. Now, what is the time? The time is 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes. Okay, so we say 5, 8, 11, 12 minutes. So that is also a critical control point, because if we don't boil it for the right time, then you won't get a soft boiled egg. Very simple. You will get a hard boiled egg when you are trying to make a soft boiled egg. Okay, so that is those are critical control points. Now, why am I talking about critical control points of an egg here? In this gravy also there are two major critical control points. Okay, one critical control point is how much does the onion cook. Okay, when I say brown the onion, you will ask me how much brown, because I cannot show you physically today. Even when I will try to do that, you have to understand that the onions have to brown on the sides initially. Okay, they don't have to brown. They don't have to be charred. They should not get completely dehydrated. Okay. So, if you are cooking onions in a very large quantity for a gravy, which is very, very large, which is a large quantity of gravy. So, what you do generally is you add in a little bit of a salt on the gravy, and the onion starts getting dehydrated. And once the onion starts getting dehydrated, it browns very fast. Okay. So, because our gravy is very less, it is only 2 portions of the gravy. We will not add any salt into this at this stage. We'll let it brown naturally. Okay, so that is one critical control point. The second critical control point of this gravy is when we are adding in spices. Okay, so we will not add in the spices into this gravy directly. So I have some yogurt with me. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk this yogurt. I'm going to add in all these spices into this gravy. And then I'm going to add this into this dahi, and then I'm going to add this dahi into the gravy, and then this whole thing is a critical control point. And then you keep on cooking the gravy, cooking the dahi, you keep on moving it, you keep on stirring it so that the yogurt does not split. So there are basically 3 critical control points. One control point is how brown is the onion. Another critical point is never try and never put the spices directly into the onions which are getting cooked. And number 3 critical control point is once you have added dahi into this gravy, which is an integral part of this gravy, because you need a little bit of acid. So then what you do is you keep on cooking this gravy till the time you feel now it is not going to split anymore, till the time it is going to start leaving oil on the sides. Okay. So what is actually happening by that? The milk solids in the milk solids in the yogurt are basically cooking separately. Okay, they're caramelizing, and the fat content has melted and it has blended into the fat content of the oil and ghee that we added into this gravy. Okay, let it keep on cooking, because now the next thing that we're going to do is basically let us make this spice mixture. Let us make this spice mixture first. Before doing that, let me actually shift it here so that you can see a little bit of what is happening in the pan. I will anyway, like last time, I'm going to come and show it to you in the camera once the right color is achieved. Okay, so what we are going to do now is this dahi I have, I'm going to whisk the yogurt, and after whisking the yogurt, I'm going to add in the spices in here. Okay, I will start by adding the coriander powder first. 3 tablespoons of coriander powder, 1 tablespoon of cumin powder, 1 tablespoon of turmeric. This is just to enhance the color. And then I have red chili powder. I'm going to add 1 part of Kashmiri red chili powder, and I'm going to add 1 more part of the spicier red chili powder. Okay, and now the onions have started browning a little bit. At this stage, okay, I add a couple of bay leaves into the gravy. And I will start mixing this yogurt nicely. Initially, I will mix it with a spoon, and then to make a nice homogeneous mixture, I will mix it with a whisk. You can also add a little bit of water in this space, in this mixture. Okay. Mix it so well that there are no globules in the yogurt. There are no small globules of either spice or yogurt in the gravy. Okay, so it is ready. I'm keeping it on the side. I'm coming back to the onions. Okay, they're browning. Right. So the next that I'm going to do is I'm going to add in these tomatoes into the gravy, and I will cook these tomatoes till they are, I've chopped them really very fine. Okay, very fine tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook them till the time they do not completely mix into the gravy and they don't become pulp. And once that is achieved, then I'm going to add these spices with the yogurt. Okay, so I'm going to now add in a little bit of salt into the gravy. Okay, this is going to shorten the cooking time a little bit, because salt acts as a dehumidifier. It acts as a element basically that dehydrates. So it's going to mix it very fast, make it brown very fast. Okay, now in the meantime, let me talk about the second gravy that we're making. Okay. The second gravy that we're going to make is, as I told you, is the Haryali gravy, and it has 2 main components. One component is the spinach part. Okay, the green part, the bigger part, the mass of the gravy, like the mass of the gravy here is onions and tomatoes. The mass of that gravy, the volume of that gravy basically comes from spinach. Okay, so you will see that many of the times in restaurants also, at home also, sometimes we struggle with the color of the green gravy. Now, why do we struggle with the color of the green gravy? We do basically don't understand two important elements. Okay, we don't understand two important elements. You see, it is already started browning. Okay, once it achieves the temperature, I am going to get it closer to the camera, and I will show you what kind of color I want it. Now, there are two important elements to the green gravy. One is temperature, and another one is acid. These are two enemies of any of the green color in food. If you add acid, it discolors, and if you heat it up to a very high temperature, it discolors. So what do we do? In that also, at that time when we are doing the green gravy, I am going to tell you what are the two important CCPs. Okay. While the onion is browning, I am going to, in the meantime, take some spinach, which I took out the leaves in the morning. I removed the bigger stems, and I just kind of removed the leaves. I did not chop them. Right. So what happens is, if you chop them also too much, they start discoloring. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start by blanching this spinach. Okay. So blanching, you all know, is a very simple method of cooking, wherein you add water, you boil the water, and once the water starts boiling, we will put in the spinach and keep it there for a few seconds. And once it starts, once it has been there for 30 seconds, 35 seconds, we will put and refresh into some cold water. So today what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get some cold water, chilled water, ice water, and I'm going to directly shock the spinach into the chilled water. So this is about the spinach. Let the water boil. Then the other elements of the green gravy are coriander. Okay, let's say if we have 4 parts of blanched spinach, we have 2 parts of coriander, and we have 1 part of mint. Mint gets discolored very fast. Okay, so we have achieved the color of the onions. I'm going to basically show you what is the color of the onions now. Okay, this is exactly what we desire. I don't want to cook it anymore. And now at this stage, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put in the ginger garlic paste. It will cool down the mixture. 2 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste. It is going to cool down the gravy. And oh, my bay leaf is flowing out. Okay, anyway, he knew he has to come out at some stage. Okay, now there are some chefs or home cooks also who will always advocate of putting the ginger garlic paste first before the onions into the gravy. Okay, why we don't generally put ginger garlic paste into the gravy? Garlic has got starch. Okay, and it will generally stick to the bottom, especially if your pan is hot. It's going to stick to the bottom, and you're not going to get uniform coloring. So once the onions are done, you have put in your ginger garlic paste. You have some buffer for it not to stick to the base of the pan. And you can, at this stage, because now the onion has browned, it's already achieved its color, you can also add in a little bit tablespoon of water. Okay, because anyway, ginger and garlic, when you pasted it, you had some water in it, so it is going to add, cool down the pan a little. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, at this stage, I'm going to add in these tomatoes direct into the pan. Again, it cooled down the pan. We already have some amount of salt inside. So these tomatoes are really going to tone down quite fast, because I chopped them quite a bit. But they have to turn pulpy before I put in my spice mix which I had mixed into the yogurt. Before I put this into the gravy, the tomatoes have to really tone down. Okay, so let it cook. We are waiting. In the meantime, water is getting heated, I'm going to wait for this water to get heated, and I will talk a little bit more about the green gravy. So we spoke about spinach, so we spoke about coriander, we spoke about mint. Then there is one more element which is always, there are two genres of people. Some say it helps in putting black pepper into the green gravy, and some say green chili is good enough. Okay, so whatever. If you want black pepper into the gravy, that is fine enough, depending on, like for example, anybody who makes green gravy in the south of India would generally prefer to put black pepper, and anybody who makes green gravy in the north, for example, will always prefer to put in a couple of green chilies into the gravy. So there are two genres. It's perfectly alright. You can put whatever, because you need a little bit of spiciness, and you need a little bit of heat in the gravy. Okay, so I'm sure you by now understand the difference between spicy gravy and hot gravy. Okay, this is very important, because these are two words which are always discussed, spoken almost as if they are the same. They are not the same. Hot means if there is heat in the gravy, you add in chilies, and spicy gravy can be something that has too much of black cardamom. A gravy which has too much of cardamom in it can be gravy, or a lot of garam masala in a gravy can be spicy gravy. Okay, but not necessarily hot. So it's very, very important that you understand these terms in their true form. Okay, wonderful. Okay, the water is almost at the verge of boiling. I have some ice kept and in a bowl. So I will put in some water and some ice, and I will, when I take out the spinach, I'm going to put it into a bowl which has ice water in it, so that it shocks and also gives us a great color. So I am actually treating spinach separately. So spinach is going to be just blanched, cooled, chilled, kept separately. And then in the other pan, I'm going to prepare rest of the components of this green gravy. Now, as I told you, what are the rest of the components? Mint, coriander, green chili, and along with that, ginger and garlic. Okay, and how ginger and garlic? I have peeled ginger here, and I have whole garlic. So I'm going to take whole garlic, a few pods, around 6-7 pods of whole garlic, and I'm going to take around 1.5 inch square piece of ginger. Okay, I have to continuously see that my brown gravy is not sticking. Anyway, these are non-stick pans, so there is no chance of sticking. But then caramelizing, if it caramelizes too much, then it's going to become bitter. So it's very important. As I told you, this is a critical control point. Okay, now let's go to ginger. This is for this ginger I'm doing for the Haryali gravy. Just roughly chop it, because I'm going to later on blend it. So I roughly chop this garlic. Again, almost the same size as the ginger. You can also crush the garlic a little bit, but then because we are keeping the ginger very big, so we are also keeping the garlic fairly big, so that it cooks uniformly and one does not brown after the other. Okay, then other two elements that I spoke about it, the mint and the coriander. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically remove the big stalks of the mint, the big ones, the non-tender ones, and I'm going to leave the tender ones there. And I'm going to take the coriander, as I told you, 2 parts coriander, 1 part mint, and I'm going to chop them together. Very rough chop, because I don't want them to cook completely in the pan that I'm going to cook them in. I'm going to just leave it a little bit of an al dente so that it does not lose its color. So you basically have roughly chopped ginger, you have roughly chopped garlic, you have coriander, 2 parts, and you have 1 part mint. And I'm also going to take a couple of green chilies. I'm going to just break them. I don't want it to become too spicy because I'll be making haryali paneer or palak paneer from it. Okay, so the tomatoes are pulpy, and if you see, the pan has now, the gravy has almost become one mass. So what I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to put in the dahi along with the spices in. So I took, because I had almost 250 grams of onions, I took almost 70-80 ml of milk, of dahi, and I added the spices that I showed to you. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continuously keep on, stirring it till the time it starts leaving oil on the sides. Now, when it starts leaving ghee and oil on the sides, I know that my gravy is cooked, and I don't have to bother about, cooking it more, stirring it more, and then I can let it relax. I'll reduce the heat. I'll let it cook it at medium heat. And always remember, whenever you're making basic gravies, don't over season basic gravies. Don't put too much of hot ingredients into them. Don't put too much of cream into the basic gravies, because later on when you reconstitute them, put them into dishes, they can curdle. And don't put too much of oil or fat into them, because it will be very difficult for you to later on remove it and you won't know exactly how much fat to put into the final product. And of course, seasoning. It's like you never put salt into the white sauce bechamel. You never put salt into other mother sauces of Western cuisine. Okay, now my gravy is almost there, and here on my water is also started boiling. So I'm going to remove the lid, and the water is already boiling, and I'm going to put in the spinach. Just a minute into this water, and I take it out immediately after that. Into this bowl, I have a bowl with ice and some water in it. I'm going to take out the spinach directly. So I have a tong here, which will help me to easily remove the spinach and put it into the ice. Okay. 30 seconds more, and I'm going to get this pan in front of the camera and showing you how it has started leaving oil on the sides and how my gravy is now at the verge of getting ready. So I'm going to reduce in the heat. Okay, at this stage, if you feel that your gravy is getting sort of stick to the base, if you don't have a non-stick pan, you can add a little bit of water at this. Just add a little bit of water, like we degrease the pan, and then cook it for some more time. You can also cover it at this stage if you want it more cooked. Okay, so it's already there. Okay, now see, it is sizzling and it's already started leaving oil on the sides. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to reduce the heat. I'm going to reduce the heat now, and I'm going to leave it here on the fire for some more time. It will help me in two things. All the extra oil is going to come out. I'm going to drain it before I put it into a blender and cool it. And next thing what's going to happen is, it's also going, whatever onions and tomatoes, etc., may be uncooked in this, will automatically also get cooked. Okay, so this is basically a mother brown masala or a mother brown gravy of Indian cuisine. Okay, so it is ready. No frills, nothing. basic masalas, basic spices, onion, tomato. Okay. Some people also add in cashew nut in this gravy. It all depends on what you are cooking later. Okay, the basic gravy does not have cashew nut. Some people also put roasted cashew nuts. They put roasted cashew nuts to get that thickening, especially in the south. If you're making those brown gravies, etc., brown curries, etc. So you can or cannot, but we will not be putting any cashew nut into this gravy. So because there are rest of the gravies in Indian cuisine which have cashew nut, etc., and if you want to make a brown masala which is originally made like white gravy, instead of putting white cashew nut into it, you put some roasted cashew nut. You can also put in roasted garlic. You can color the onions a little bit more. Okay, that is a different gravy. Okay, so let it cook, and in the meantime my spinach is done. It has been in for almost 1.5 odd minutes, and I'm going to take it out. Okay, immediately it needs to chill. You know what it is called? Shocking. Okay, very important. Just after you blanch, you have to shock. Otherwise, there is no use of blanching because you will not get good colors. Okay, in the meantime, I switch this off, and this goes away. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now, while the brown gravy is done, I will just do a little bit of a recap what we did with this brown gravy before I start cooking the other part of the green gravy. So what we did, we started with a little bit of ghee and oil. As I told you, only ghee, it starts burning too fast because the smoke point is low. And of course, ghee also helps to enhance the flavors in the Indian gravies. And then we immediately added whole garam masalas. That was black cardamom, cumin, cinnamon, mace, and cloves. Then we added the whole cumin, sauteed it, let it crackle at low temperatures. Then we added in the onions. We let the onions caramelize. Once the onions caramelized, we added the bay leaf, sauteed it again, and then we mixed in some yogurt and spices. On the other side, we added some chopped tomatoes. Before that, we added the ginger garlic paste, cooked it for some more time, added in the chopped tomato, and then added in the spices. And now we have this brown masala ready. It is already leaving a lot of rogan. We will keep that rogan separately, and we are going to blend it, and that rogan we are going to use in the dish that we are going to make later on. What is the dish? I told you already, we will be making murg do pyaza. Okay, now I want to give you a little bit of a caution on murg do pyaza. The caution is very simple. If you are a YouTube, because you are a YouTube generation, if you are into YouTube, if you are into watching videos, you will see that 20 to 30% of the recipes on the YouTube which talk about do pyaza are yellow in color. 20 to 30%. Okay. I have also seen in certain restaurants they use yellow gravy in do pyaza. But if you want to convert the same gravy into yellow gravy, just deduct the red chilies. Just deduct the red chilies or reduce the quantity of red chilies. Don't put any Kashmiri red chilies. It will automatically give you that yellowish, dark yellowish color, and use it. But authentically, do pyaza is originally described as a dish where two types of onions. So here, there are many theories. Some people say spring onions and red onions. Some people say shallots and red onions. So, but over so many years in the industry, we realize it's basically two cuts of onions. One is the chopped onions, which is used in the gravy, and later on there will be another variety, another cut of onions that we are going to use a little later, that I will show you. Okay, so while our spinach is getting ready, brown gravy I'm going to remove from here, and I'm going to cool it down because I want it to, before I put it into a blender, I want it to cool down, otherwise it's all going to come up. Okay, so I'll leave it on the platform here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the next part of my green gravy or the haryali gravy. So what I have taken is a pan. I have added in some oil into it. You can also add some ghee, no problem. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is a couple of crushed black cardamoms. Sorry, green cardamom. Uh, 1 inch of cinnamon, cumin seed, and 2 to 3 bay leaves. In this gravy, because we are using spinach and we're using green leaves, we will also add nutmeg. But later on, when the gravy is being converted into palak paneer, we will convert it at that time. Okay, so again, medium heat pan, medium hot pan. Spices go in, spices start crackling. I'm going to put in the chopped ginger and chopped garlic. Okay, as I told you, this chopped onion and chopped garlic has to be coarsely chopped. It does not have to be very finely chopped, because we have to blend it later on. So it just needs to barely cook, because we will be cooking this gravy even later when we convert it into a dish. Okay, while this is cooking, I'm going to remove the spinach that we had put in for cooling. Yeah, it's nice and chilled. Okay, remember, we are also going to add in some ice into the mixie bowl when we are blending this. We will also blend the spinach separately, and we will blend the other spices that I made: garlic, ginger, and coriander and mint. I'm going to blend it separately, or you can blend the mint and coriander mixture a little bit first, and then put in this spinach. So you can see the color of the spinach is bright. I'll just stir it and get it closer to the camera. You can see the color is bright, okay, and it's because we blanched it and we put it into ice water, and we did not let it sit like that in the room temperature. It would have become dark. Okay, so increase the heat a little bit now. Let it cook. I don't want to color this. I just want it to cook properly. And for that, even if I have to put in a little bit of water after some time, I'll put in, but let it caramelize a little bit. I don't want it completely raw also, because that's going to give a raw flavor. And then once that is done, I'm going to add in the mint and coriander that we have already chopped. Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water in here, just a little bit of water to give it some more time. Okay, at this stage, I'm going to add in some chopped onions into it, just a little bit. Always remember, no coloring in here. And like any other gravy, before we put the brown gravy and the green gravy into a blender, we are going to remove all the visible spices that we put, whole spices. We're going to remove bay leaf, we're going to remove black cardamom out of it, we're going to remove the big cinnamon out of it. And if we have some javitri which we have put in for flavor, we'll also remove that javitri, and then we will blend the spices. We will blend the gravy, because what happens is if you blend all of that together, it becomes too bitter. Okay, and all the flavor anyway has been removed in the oil. That is why we put the spices into oil. The main reason behind making a chonk or a tadka is to harness the flavor of the of these dry spices, of these whole spices. Okay, some more time, let it cook. Okay, so let me now talk about the dishes that we are going to churn out of these gravies. As I told you, we'll be making murg do pyaza or chicken do pyaza out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an onion, okay, an onion which has been peeled, and if it is a very big onion, you can cut it into 6 quarters. If it is a medium-sized onion like this, you can cut it into 4 quarters. Or cut it twice in the center, and what you have is basically onion flakes, what we call onion flakes. You remove the core and you have onion flakes of various sizes. Okay, and you can either separate them now or you can separate them later. They will automatically anyway separate in the pan once they are cooked. We don't want to cook them too much. We just want to keep them crunchy. That is the main reason. So what we're going to do is, before we finish the dish, I'm going to toss them separately in a pan, and then I'm going to, towards the end, the dish is prepared, I'm going to put them into the pan so that they do not overcook. So they do not get overcooked. Will not waste anything. We just put everything together. Okay. The onions have toned down a little bit, and because I said I don't want to color them, I'm going to at this stage put in the mint and the coriander. And remember, this mint and the coriander had already been washed before I put it into the jar here. And I also before chopping, it's very important that you wash mint and coriander. Only if you're putting mint and coriander in the garnish, then you can chop it first, put it into a tub of water, leave it there for some time, wash it 2-3 times, let the silt sit at the bottom, and then keep on removing it with your hand or a strainer. And then in the end, you have coriander and mint or any green vegetable, even spinach for that matter, which is without any silt and without any crunch, unappetizing crunch. Okay, so if you were here, by this time you would already be smelling the mint and the combination of mint and coriander and the green chili. Almost you're smelling a hari chutney, okay, which is being probably cooked. And as I told you, I don't want to overcook this. It is done. I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to let it cool down. Okay, I'll put it into a bowl so that the latent heat in the pan does not overcook it. I'll put it in here and I will wait for it to cool down, and then we will blend it. Again, a little bit of ice goes into the blender jar before you blend it. I'm going to retain this pan. I'm going to cook, because this already has the flavor of this combination. So I'm going to retain this pan. I'm going to cook it in this pan only. Okay, so this was about the two basic gravies. Now, what do I have? I have the two components of this gravy. One is the blanched spinach. Okay, I'm going to, of course, blend it, and then other is the combination of ginger, garlic, onions, whole garam masalas, and then mint and coriander. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as I told you, I'm going to remove the whole spices. I'm going to remove the whole spices from this. So what do we have? We have bay leaf, which we remove. Uh, we have this big piece of cinnamon, which we remove, and then, because we did not put black cardamom in here, I think we have one more bay leaf. Yes. Oof, this is got such nice and robust flavor. Okay, so that's it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in a couple of cubes of ice into this so that the temperature goes down before it is blended. Okay, so I come back to the dough piazza now. So I was telling you I'm going to reserve that pan for the spinach. I'm going to use another pan for dough piazza. Okay, now we go to dough piazza. Now what do we have? We have the brown gravy. We have the onions. Now this brown gravy already has a blend of spices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start with a little bit of whole spice, maybe one green cardamom, maybe a couple of cloves, and a little bit of cumin. I will toss it, and then in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the piece of chicken, which I have refrigerated, and the chicken I'm going to marinate with some salt, pepper, a little bit of haldi, and after marinating that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bouillowing this chicken in the pan with a little bit of oil, and once the chicken is half cooked, I'm going to add in the gravy. And in another pan, I'm going to toss the onions. And once I toss the onions, I will put the onions towards the end. Okay. So, so let me start with the oil. So I had cut the chicken in the morning, and I had put it into the refrigerator. I will be kind of marinating the chicken. But before that, let us first heat the oil a little bit and the ghee. Half oil, half ghee. And you can also, especially if you're making large quantities, because the flavor of the ginger and garlic, the flavor of the spices, etc., can dilute it in large quantities. So what you can do is you can also add a little bit of ginger garlic paste before when you're finishing the dish. But then now, because we are only making two portions of this gravy, I'm going to omit that. I'm only going to add whole spices. So what I'm going to do is two cardamoms. Just a half-inch spice of cinnamon, two green cardamoms actually, not the black one, and one bay leaf and some cumin seeds. Okay, let's let the pan heat, and then we will put it in. Not in a very cold pan, not in a very hot pan. Not in a very hot pan because the spices will burn on the outside. Not in a very cold pan. There will be no proliferation of the oils. Okay. And you can also put in a couple of green chilies, which you can cut into diamonds. So you can slit the green chilies. We'll also put a slit green chili right in the end for the garnish, etc. Okay. Okay, so first the whole garam masala. A couple of cloves. Please. Okay, as I said, not very high heat, medium heat. A teaspoon of cumin, whole cumin. Here I will just put a couple of 2 chilies which I have just slit, green chilies. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to marinate the chicken. The chicken goes in. This is chicken leg, specifically boneless chicken leg. Almost 1.5 inch pieces of chicken leg. That means a leg has been cut into basically 3 parts. Okay, so just a little bit of salt, a little bit of red chili powder, a little bit of cumin powder, and a little bit of turmeric. Just a little bit of turmeric to brighten the color. Okay, and all right, this comes on again. Just heat it up a little bit and just put in the chicken. So once the chicken goes in, we need to now cook it at fairly medium heat so that the chicken seals on the outside and it remains juicy on the inside. And once we feel the chicken is cooked on all the sides, we will take the gravy and we'll add in the gravy into this, toss it, and just before we finish, we'll add in this onions. Okay, and of course a couple of slit chilies in there. Right. The chicken goes in. As I told you, fairly high temperature initially so that the chicken seals. It does not boil, it sizzles. Try to cook it on both sides so that it gets sealed automatically on both sides. Just a little bit more of cooking, searing on one side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little bit of water into it so that all the spice flavor of these whole spices comes together with the chicken and it becomes one whole mass. And what happens because of this is when you are searing it, you also get some nice brown color caramelization on the chicken, which finally adds to the color of the dish in the end. Okay, just 2 minutes more in the sizzle, and then I'm going to add in some water, and I'm going to cook in that water, cover it for some time so that the chicken gets nicely cooked inside, and then I'm going to add in the gravy and let it simmer in the gravy for some more time. Okay, remember, as I always say when we talk about the history of Indian cuisine, that onion is not a very old entry into the Indian cuisine. It is just 900 years old. So you can imagine that do pyaza must have obviously come after that. So do pyaza is probably a relatively new dish which must have probably come around the time when the people started cooking such gravies in the Mughal area or era, or before the Mughal era. So this is the stage when I add in the water, just a little bit of water, so that all the flavors come together. At this stage, I'm going to add the lid on. Okay, I have a bigger lid. So let it cook. So this will actually let the the chicken cook inside in steam. Okay. In the meantime, while the chicken is cooking and we are adding gravy into it, in the meantime, let us also start prepping for the next dish, which is going to be Haryani paneer or palak paneer. Okay. So what we do is, for the Haryani paneer, we take paneer, fresh malai paneer, and you can convert it into a shape of your own, whatever you want. You can make it into dices. You can actually make it into triangles like we do our pasanda, etc. You can cut it into rectangles. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cut basically thin dices from this paneer, because this is best suited for that. So almost half an inch thick. And then I'm going to cut it here in the center. Cut it here in the center, and I will leave it in the first leave it here. Let me leave it on the chopping board, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some salt, and I'm going to add in a little bit of red chili powder on one side, a little bit of cumin powder. Okay, and try to blend it all together. And we will shallow fry the paneer a little bit. We'll not let it go into the gravy without shallow frying it. There is a trend generally that a lot of people just cook in the paneer inside the gravy when the paneer is raw. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to kind of shallow fry the paneer. And there is another way of keeping the paneer nice and moist, because it's a protein. So what happens is, as soon as it gets into into the heat to a particular temperature, it starts it does not allow anything else to go inside. So what is the best way of doing is that you take the paneer, cut it into the desired shape, fry it. You can deep fry it at very hot oil. As soon as it starts browning on the sides, on the other side you keep some warm water ready. Let's say if I'm making a yellow colored gravy, so put some haldi into the warm water. If I'm making a red colored gravy, put in some red chili powder, Kashmiri red chili powder into the water, and put this paneer, soak it for some time, and some salt, of course. So what happens is, because the paneer is hot at that time, it absorbs that it leaves the steam and it absorbs that water which has that haldi or red chili or salt in it, and it becomes basically it gets colored on the inside. So once you put it into gravy, it is nice and juicy on the outside, and it does not seal itself on the outside. Okay, so I will remove the lid now. So the chicken is nice and cooked and it's seared on the outside. Okay, it has a good color on it. And on the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute the onions. I'm going to saute the onions in this pan on the other side. Just a little bit of oil, and I will really make it very hot. So because I don't want the onions to cook too much, so make it real hot. Just add in a little bit of spices and salt, and the onion is done. And as soon as the gravy is ready, I'm going to finish it. The gravy is getting blended. Okay, so the gravy has been blended. I'm going to get it in front of the camera. I'm going to show you how nice the gravy has come. Okay, you can see it in a little bit of a yellowish shade, but it's very orange. You know the difference between that you are seeing it, I am seeing it. It's very red in color. Not, I don't know how you are able to see it, but I am seeing it a little yellow on the screen, but it's not yellow. It's very orange in color. Okay, great. So the gravy goes in just a little bit, not too much, because we just have around 2 portions of chicken, and I have already some water in this, and I'm going to let it cook fairly medium hot, and I'm going to add in a little bit of water. And at this stage, I'm going to check, because we have put in a little of salt in the onion, so I'm going to check the seasoning, and I'm going to prepare the first. On another side, the oil is hot. I'm going to add the onions in here, and I'm going to really cook it nice, very fast. I've just added a little bit of cumin powder so that they don't remain bland completely. Okay, on one side we have the chicken gravy. Okay, I need this gravy to thicken, and I will also add in some cream in the end. I will also keep some fresh green coriander ready for the finishing. A little bit into the finishing, and a little bit into the garnish. A couple of sprigs for the garnish, and a little bit more into the finishing. So the robust flavor of the coriander, fresh coriander and green chili is unmatched. Okay, it's a very earthy flavor. I know there are a lot of people in this world who do not appreciate coriander as a flavor, especially lots of them in India. But if you look at generalization, you will see that you see the onions have caramelized a little bit, and they have not broken down, but they have caramelized. At this stage, I am going to switch it off. In the meantime, the gravy is getting ready. I've just added some fresh coriander into it. I will taste it now at this stage and check if we have the right seasoning. Some more salt. Oh, great. So now it's not very spicy. We need to have a fairly good thickened consistency. We need to get rid of those extra big spices like birich, etc. And then I'm going to plate this dish. A little bit of a contrast plate. I'm taking the green colored plate because the dish is going to be reddish, and we have a couple of sprigs of coriander. You can hear the sizzle already. So we are almost there at the consistency. But I'm not going to add the onions now. I'm going to add the onions much later. Keep your area as clean as possible as you go. Okay. In the meantime, let me show you what happened to the spinach and the green paste all together. This is the color that we got from a mixture of the spinach and green paste that we put in together into a blender with some ice. Okay, so it's nice and cool. It's almost icy to touch. So always remember, whenever you're blanching anything green, it could be basil, you add in a little bit of an ice. For example, if you are cooking a pesto, don't put the ice exactly into the basil, but put it under a ice bath or something, so that the temperature reduces. Because as soon as you put things into a mixie while blending, even the fruit juices, they increase in temperature, and the properties of the dish change, of the item change. And most of the times, if you are cooking green items, they will automatically change color. So I asked you about chutneys, about pesto, etc., etc. If you want to keep them greener for a long time, you have to put some kind of ice in it. Okay, consistency there. Onions go in with a little bit of cumin that I put in there. 2 slit green chilies. One goes in, and one I'm going to put as a garnish on top. Okay, as usual, I'm going to get it in front of you and show it to you. Okay, so just see, it's nice and thick. It's not a very thin gravy. Okay, it's almost like the consistency of a thick makhani. Okay, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to plate it. So this is almost 2 portions of chicken. Actually, 2 portions of chicken. I'm talking about an a la carte portion. Onions. Some gravy on the sides. And this goes extremely well with some nice naan. And some green chili. And a nice sprig of coriander. And some people also in the hotels love to add a wedge of tomato, fresh tomatoes, as garnish. Just to give it a little bit of a color. So This is your do pyasa. Okay, do pyasa done. Our green curry, green paste is ready. We're going to go to our next dish, which is our palak paneer. So what I'm going to do is, or haryali paneer. So I already have some cumin and some oil here in this pan, in which I had tossed the onions. So what I'm going to do is, I'll heat it up a little bit, add in a little bit more oil, and I'm going to shallow fry the paneer, keep it on the other side. And then I'm going to cook that paneer gravy here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a ghee here, little bit of ghee and some oil. And because I am using spinach, I'm going to add nutmeg into it now. I'll grate some nutmeg into it later. And because I already have an element of ginger and garlic there, I'm going to take just a little bit of more ginger, and I'm going to chop it fine and leave some ginger as juliennes in the end. Okay, so juliennes go very well with the color and the flavor of the spinach dishes. And also, I told you nutmeg goes very well with spinach flavors, because spinach has an earthy flavor that is taken care of by the nutmeg flavor. Okay, so also what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a couple of cloves. I'm going to put 2 green cardamoms in here, and I'm going to add in 1 small bay leaf, and I'm going to add in some cumin, whole cumin. Okay, but before that, I will first finish shallow frying the paneer. I have put my oil almost on the upper medium side of the induction. So this induction goes up to 2000. So I put it at 1300, 1400. I don't want the paneer to boil. I actually want it to sizzle. I will cook it on both the sides. I've increased the temperature now to 16, because I want it to get fairly sealed on the sides. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is, while the paneer is cooking, I'm going to chop some ginger. I will also make a couple of slices later on and take out juliennes out of that, which I'll use as a garnish. Presently, I'm chopping. Okay, some chopped ginger. A couple of cloves of garlic. This can, come into your mouth later on. So I'm crushing the garlic before I'm chopping it. Okay, so I think let's turn the paneer. Yes. I'm leaving here at the medium heat. So I have some chopped onion, I have some chopped garlic, chopped ginger. I will be cutting the juliennes a little later, and I have this whole garam masala ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this paneer on the other side, and I'm going to add in a little bit of oil and a little bit of ghee in here. What is palak paneer without a little bit of extra dash of ghee? And this garam masala, whole garam masala, cloves, green cardamom, one bay leaf, and a little bit of cumin. Very little, because we already have the flavor in the gravy. I will add in the chopped ginger and chopped garlic. Okay, here I'm going to add a little bit of cumin powder, and I'm going to add in a little bit of turmeric just to improve the color of this gravy, because if you add in a little bit, a dash of turmeric into it, the color of the gravy brightens. And I'm adding one green chili into this. I'm adding a dash of water so that these spices that I put in don't burn. Okay, in the restaurants, I have seen a lot of chefs also add a little bit of chopped onion at this stage, and they cook them. The chopped onion, add in a little bit of salt, color them a little bit, and then add in the spinach. So we already have onions, we already have ginger, we already have garlic, we already have mint and coriander in this gravy. So I don't want to put in any more. I'm just added some more turmeric into it, and whole garam masala, and we are just going to add this into it, cook it for some time, and once we feel that it's cooked, and then we will season it, and after seasoning we'll put in the spinach, and when you finish it with some cream, and you can also use butter in case you want, but cream is good enough. And then of course we are going to garnish it with some juliennes of ginger. I'm going to take out the slices first, very fine julienne, so that they don't become an obstruction when you are eating the spinach. They are not too big, too thick, to kind of spoil your taste, spoil the taste of the guest when they are eating it. Very fine juliennes, almost as thin as chiffonade. Okay, so you can see very thin, very thin juliennes of spinach. Okay, so this is again started drying up. That means the spices have cooked, and I'm going to now add in the gravy, which is, if you remember, combination of the mint, coriander separately, mint, coriander, ginger, and garlic separately with some onions, and of course the spinach that we had done separately has also been added into this mixture. Again, if you want this mixture to thicken a little bit according to your tastes, you can add in. You can also add in some cashew paste, etc. If you are using it, using it as a as a gravy, which is going to cook some thick sauces, etc., thick sabzis, then you can. Or if you are putting in too much of vegetables into it, blanched vegetables, and you see a lot of water coming out of the vegetables, you can add in a little bit of cashew paste. I'm not going to do cashew paste. I'm going to add some cream into it just before I finish. Okay. At this stage, what I'm going to do is I've taken some nutmeg. As I told you, it goes very exceptionally well with the flavor of the spinach. I'm going to take some nutmeg, and from the very thinnest part, from the very thinnest side of grater, I'm going to grate. Too much nutmeg can be very strong spice. So just a little bit of nutmeg is good enough for one portion. That's it. Okay, so at this stage, I'm going to add in the paneer. And now I'm going to check the seasoning of this gravy. Reduce the temperature. I don't want it to now change color. Need salt. As I told you, you can also add in a little bit of white pepper, or you can add green chilies into it earlier. You can also add a little bit of black pepper if you want. One final taste. Salt. I'm reducing the temperature because what's going to happen is it's going to start bubbling, and all these bubbles are going to be everywhere. Okay, so it's well seasoned now. I'm going to prepare a plate because it's a green gravy. I'll be plating it in a white plate, which is a contrast. Okay, at this stage, I will remove the bay leaf that I had put in. Okay. Cream. 1 tablespoon of cream into the gravy. And it's not completely done yet. I have one more, item to put into it, which adds a completely different dimension into a spinach dish. So what is it? I'm sure you have heard of kasuri methi. Okay, and kasuri methi is basically an ingredient which is mostly used for flavoring, and it is either powdered like that. The best way of using kasuri methi is you take kasuri methi, which comes in a packet. Kasur is a place which is now in Pakistan, so it is basically methi fenugreek, which now grows in many parts of our country also. So it has a very strong flavor. It is basically a leaves and stalks that you get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some methi. I'm going to put it into a pan. I'm going to let it dry. Remember, don't burn it. Don't put it on a very hot pan. Otherwise, what's going to happen? It's going to turn brown, and that is not what we want. We just want to dehydrate it. We want the flavors to mature because we're putting it into hot pan, and I'm going to switch it off now. Just heated the pan good enough. Okay, so it's getting dehydrated now, drying up. So what you generally do is you take it in your hand and you press it between your palms and you put it into the gravy. No grinding, nothing. You can also add it as a garnish to many dishes. Whenever you don't have green methi available, you can use this methi also. You can use this methi also as an accompaniment to as a dish, flavoring dish to other dishes like, let's say, methi paneer, etc. Methi matar, methi malai matar, methi paneer, methi malai paneer, and all those dishes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this dish of ours back into the range, and I'm going to take this methi, not all of it, it's too much because it's a very flavorful ingredient. I'm going to put it inside my palms and I'm going to put it into this gravy. You have to be sure that you only take the leaves. Sometimes there are also some sprigs and sticks into it that you should avoid. Okay, just one final stir because it's already seasoned. Okay, I finally found that bay leaf. switch off. Okay. Okay, before I do this, let me get it in front of the camera and show you how it looks. Okay, now I think you can see a better version of the color now. Okay, so you have a nice green curry, thick curry, which has paneer which has already been cooked. So you will see that if you cut this paneer, there will be some element, flavor element of whatever we have put outside. It's not going to be bland inside. Okay, julienne of ginger. I think the best garnish for any spinach, Indian spinach dish is julienne of ginger, because it blends very well. And just to give a little bit of a color contrast, you can also add in a red chili here, and in the end a dash of cream. So this is our Haryali paneer. Call it palak paneer, call it chutney paneer, put in more mint, call it pudina paneer. So this is basically a dish that we have created from the basic green masala, and earlier we had created a dish from the from the basic brown masala, which was do pyaza, murg do pyaza, and this is Haryali paneer. Okay, so this brings us to this edition of Indian gravies, which was the last part of the Indian gravies chapter. We did makhani, we did shahi gravy, then we did kadai gravy last year and last class, and we did yellow gravy, and this class we did brown gravy and we did Haryali gravy. So that ends the class on gravies. We will have an ensuing class tomorrow, then we'll have a class on Saturday, and tomorrow is going to be about Thai curries. We will be recreating Thai curries with Indian ingredients, whatever is available locally in India, and then also we're going to make a couple of dishes out of it. And on Saturday we are going to do a classical French menu, which is a part of our second year syllabus. The Thai menu is also a part of our syllabus, but I thought let us kind of up this Thai class by adding in, instead of making run of the mill Thai gravies, by adding in box gravies or box masalas or box Thai gravies, we will be creating our own 3 gravies: red, yellow and green gravy, and then of course we'll be cooking dishes out of it. So that's all for today. Don't forget that today at 3 o'clock, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and Saturday at 3 o'clock, we will have classes, or you can say demos for your parents. For a lot of parents, there is already a link on Facebook and other other pages of IHM where there is a link for registration. That class will be on Zoom. Please tell whomever you know to register and come for that class this evening, tomorrow and on Saturday. Thank you very much for today, and see you soon. Stay at home, stay safe, and we are looking forward to see you in the college when the lockdown opens.